Well, today we're going to make the legendary Oxtail Potjie, and we're going to make that with samp and beans. Filled with delicious beefy flavors, reduced red wine, lovely herbs and spices, nice bouquet garni mixed in there. But we've got a bit of a secret coming up. We first put it on the coals to get that lovely, rich, smoky flavor, and then we transfer it into this guy, the potjie pot. And then we're going to add the most amazing ingredients that you'll ever taste in your life. So come join me while we make the most awesome, legendary oxtail. So it's time to spice up the oxtail. Let's get that started. A lovely South African beefy oxtail. To this, we add in some coriander spice. Sprinkle it all over liberally. That's going to give it an amazing taste. A couple of grindings of salt, a couple of grindings of black pepper. Okay, and give that a mix in there. So if you want to know what sets this potjie apart from other potjies, is you're imparting that lovely smoky flavor from the wood that's flavoring the meat. That's what's going to make this potjie awesome. Okay, let's get these guys in the braai. So this is not going to go too long. We're just going to get a nice little char on it, get that smokiness in there, and then we're going to transfer it to the potjie pot. Now that is the only way you're going to get that lovely smokiness into this oxtail and into your dish. That's going to enhance the flavor 100 times. While that's going, we are going to chop up a whole onion and chop up some bacon. We're going to get that in with some olive oil in the potjie pot, and we're going to stir that up. By that time, these suckers should be ready, and we can add them with the rest of the spices. Alright, just set that aside. Let's get half a pack of bacon in. Just also chop those up in, say, about a centimeter pieces. Alright, from here, let's get that bacon in that potjie pot. So I'm going to add in 3 tablespoons of olive oil. So we've got some coals going there underneath the potjie pot in the meantime. From that, we're going to add in the bacon. Let's give that a stir up. So we're adding the bacon so it can impart that lovely bacon flavor and also release some of the fats. Alright, so if you see that, we can add in the onions. Get this a little bit more caramelized, and then from there, these flavors are just going to be imparted into the potjie pot. So it's one of the easiest recipes to do. Everyone's got their own style. You can't really go wrong. It's a one-pot wonder. Alright, so to this we're going to be adding 4 carrots. Let's get those peeled. Okay, once they're all peeled, squish them together like that so that's even, and just chop of those tops. Flipping hell. Move this together like that, chop of those guys, and that we can go into the compost feeder. And then let's get chopping some carrots. So here we're just chopping them at an angle, just so they look a little bit more interesting, right? That looks more interesting when it's on your plate than a circle, right? Oh wait, those guys are actually ready. Let's get them off. That's exactly what we wanted. Let's get that on the side while we prep the rest of the vegetables. So there's a few components that we'll add to the potjie pot. We don't want the vegetables to end up like mush, so we'll add them towards the end, about an hour before the potjie pot is ready. These are baby onions. I want to keep them small. I'm not going to chop them up, but what we have to do is follow a technique where we're going to peel this outer skin off and then leave them whole. So you've got the base you know, where they started growing from. You leave that guy there. You chop off just the top little bit of that, and then you gently take your knife and you score just the one side and turn it around and score just the other side. From there, take your nail, and there we go. Right, that's it. And that is going to hold the onion together. Right, let's finish off the rest of these beautiful little poles. Right, now that we've got the onions and the carrots prepped, we're going to put some celery in the potjie pot. We're going to take in 2 stalks. Alright, let's scoop these up and let's get them in the pot. Look at that, can you see how the bacon has now started caramelizing and changing color? And you can't even see those onions anymore. Alright, from there we're going to get the bouquet garni together, and then after that we'll put in the oxtail with the rest of these delicious spices. Let's show you how to make that bouquet garni. First of all, we got a couple of delicious herbs from our garden. We've got this lovely rosemary. The smell of this rosemary is super amazing. Got delicious thyme. Thyme goes so well with roast meats and any kind of meat you can imagine. It goes well with chicken as well, poultry, everything. And then we've got some parsley that we got from our garden as well. Now that is your bouquet garni. So let's take 2 stalks of rosemary, half a bunch of thyme, and let's use all the parsley. Great. Let's put our little piece of string there, put that bouquet garni on, and let's just tie that together. Great, so we're done with our bouquet garni, and I actually forgot to mention we're going to add in 10 baby potatoes with their skin on, just washed. So all of these guys we can put in this plate, ready to be added at a later stage. This is the wonderful moment where the oxtail gets introduced to the potjie pot. Let's give that a stir. So here we've got our delicious selection of spices and flavor bombs. These guys are going to absolutely enhance and change the flavor of your potjie pot. We are going to add 1 cinnamon stick, and to that we're going to add in 6 cloves, and from there we're going to add in nutmeg, but a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Be careful about this stuff, this is potent. To that we're also going to add in 4 bay leaves. To this I add in 2 teaspoons of garlic, and this absolutely changes the dish completely. A teaspoon of chili flakes and 1 teaspoon of coriander. Fantasticano. Let's get that stirred up, mixed in there. And now is the time for this incredible wine. It is a Cinsault. It has amazing flavors of raspberry, cherries, and pomegranates. And they say, yeah, it goes well with potjie pots. So we've got about 2 cups in here. Let's see how much we'll add. This is going to add a lovely, rich flavor. Great, so now that after about 5 minutes or so, you know, I can smell flavors. I don't smell that strong alcohol flavor, so I think that's good. It's got a nice boil, but not too hot. Now's the part where we add the wet components, right? So to this we're going to add in some diced Italian tomatoes, So 500 ml tenderness. Right, let's save some time, you know. You don't always have to chop tomatoes and fry them off, and I mean, this is good, right? Tastes amazing. And to that, we are going to add in Worcestershire sauce, or South Africa Worcester sauce, right? All different ways of saying this. 4 tablespoons of that. This adds a lovely umami flavor, deep, rich flavors. And to that, you want to add a 50-gram tomato paste. We add in beef stock. I've got 2 beef stock tubes here, and basically this is 2 cups of beef stock. And to that we add brown onion soup. This is a winner. Not oxtail. Oxtail soup is way too strong. Brown onion soup gives it that lovely smooth texture. It also brings it together so that the sauce thickens up. Don't add this now. It's the wrong time to add it. If you do, your oxtail might have the chance of burning. So we'll put this in around about an hour before we're finished. And we added 2 stock pots there. And to that stock pot, we're going to add in 2 cups of water. And from here, we take our bouquet garni. In he goes. He's going to sit there. He's going to have a sauna bath, and he's going to release all that lovely, lovely herby flavors. Let's get that lid on. And let's get stuck into the samp and beans. Okay, we're ready to get stuck into the samp and beans. Samp in South Africa is the whole corn kernel, and it's crushed up, and it's not sweet corn, it's field corn, you know, that they use in staple dishes, South African dishes, and in America you guys would call it hominy, and you also use it for grits, like crushed up very finely. It goes through a process to remove the kernel and everything. But yeah, samp and beans, very staple in South Africa, especially for stewy dishes. So here is the product we used, and these guys over here, these are our own red kidney beans. And so the important thing about this is you have to soak it overnight. And this is what they look like. If you take a look at the original beans, and you take a look at the soaked beans and the samp, you can see there's a substantial difference. Great, let's get these strained. So we've got a cup of samp, we've got half a cup of red kidney beans, and we've got 2.5 cups of water. So let's get them in here. And then we're going to get that up to a boil. And that's going to take an hour and a half to get done. And then we've almost reached our 3-hour mark for the oxtail and the beans. Now that it's an hour and a half, we're going to get our veggies in there, and we're going to get our brown onion soup in there as well. So we're going to add a half a pack of this, that's 25 grams. So remember, at this stage, because you've added your soup mixture, the brown onion soup mixture, you want to make sure that this goes low and slow. You can still see where the sauce is. It's still quite high above the oxtail. So they're still getting coated, they're still getting smothered in that lovely sauce. You don't want the sauce any lower than that. And now it's very low and slow. You can see it's just bubbling. It's not sizzling away. And that's what you're looking for. Back on with the lid. Another slow hour and a half. we are ready to take the oxtail potjie off. There we go. Braais. All ready to be dished up. Let's get that lovely samp and beans on the plate. Oh yes, that's looking fabulous. Yeah, it looks lovely and tender. Beans are done, samp is done. Yes, let's get that in there. Oh, look at that. Steamy, ready to be indulged on, ready to be dished up. Let's get in there. Look at that oxtail. Woo. Let's dish some lovely onions up, lovely potatoes. Look at that little pearl onions. Wow. Some carrots, smaller pieces of oxtail, some juiciness. Look at that. This looks fantastic. The oxtail turned out soft and tender. Just by looking at it, I can see it's soft and tender. Little pearl onions kept their shape. The potatoes kept their shape. The important thing is low and slow. Well, let's taste this and let's see the results. Let's get some oxtail in there. Look at that. Look at that. Comes off the bone. Look at this bone. Look at it. Just falling off the bone. Little bit of samp in there. Oh wait, let's taste the oxtail just on its own. You know, the depth of flavor. Those flavors that we built. The cinnamon, the nutmeg, the red wine, the delicious, delicious flavors that are coming through this. It is incredible. And the stickiness sticking to your lips. Those beans are incredible. And I'm so grateful that we got that flavor out of this bean. Very own beans that we made. That fattiness that's coming from the bacon and the oxtail, that beefiness. Let's get into that onion. My little pearl onion disappeared somewhere. There it is. Little pearl onion. So sweet. Gorgeous. Delicious. This is something you have to try and behold the mighty sight of the traditional, legendary oxtail. Well, here's another fantastic one that you guys must try. Try it out and follow us on Travel, Trails and Tastes. To the next one. Who do I for? Too good.